Good morning everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we are headed over to Westy's shop to use his lift so we can put the new addition in the Camaro. So let's get going. You can definitely smell that uncatted exhaust. It is a beautiful thing. So I guess it's time to let you guys in on what we're going to be doing today. Today we are going to be changing, no, not the shifter knob, we are going to be changing the shifter itself. We are going to the GM Performance close ratio shifter so we can kind of limit the distance between gears and hopefully get some better quarter mile times. So as most people know with drag racing, obviously anything you can do to limit the amount of time that you're not putting power to the track is going to be an advantage to you. So, I mean, getting out of the hole, getting up to speed as fast as possible, being able to get from first to second, second to third, third to fourth as quickly as possible is definitely going to be an advantage for you. So having a close ratio shifter should limit a little bit of that time in between the clutch going in and going from one gear to the next, and hopefully will give us a little bit more of an advantage on the drag strip. Alright, we are here at Westy's shop. I'm going to open the hood up here a little bit. Since we did just come off the highway, I want to try to cool this thing off as quickly as possible because to get the shifter in this car, you need to remove part of the exhaust. And there's a cross member in the back of the transmission and all that good stuff, but we will be going through that very shortly, so stay tuned.
What's happening? Too much. Working on hair dryers?
Yeah, for Maxwell House.
Right on.
For his Beamer. They gave him this outlet flange.
Let's do a V-band on.
Well, it had this weird V-band outlet flange, and he didn't have the corresponding half of it, so cut it off and weld that on.
Right on. Should we be ready for the call out?
This'll be, I don't know about the rest of it. If it is, look out!
Okay, so this is kind of what we're dealing with. We've got our transmission right here. We have the cross member right here, which is going to have to come out, as well as this X-pipe section of the exhaust. Now, they say this is a 2-hour job. I guess we're really going to find out what all goes into what we have to take apart here. But basically what you got to do, X-pipe, this shield up here has to come out, and the prop shaft. So let's get started and pull this thing apart. So when you order this part from GM Performance, this is what you end up with. This is your close ratio shifter assembly. It comes with a rather large instruction booklet, but honestly it's partly in English, partly in other languages, so it's not really as bad as you might think. And they give you a new pin and bolt, and of course a GM Performance plate that you can put on your car so people know that is high performance. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is remove this piece around our shift boot so we're able to get at the little set screw that kind of holds this shifter in place, and we can remove the shift knob and the boot and the surrounding area. So what we're going to do is use our trusty interior tool, get underneath here and get these clips pulled out of place, and should be good to go. Okay, you want to use a tool that's actually going to be a little bit thicker, because even my smaller one here was just bending it and the clips were really tight. So I used the smaller one to kind of make a gap big enough so I can get the bigger tool in. I was able to release the tabs by using these two together. Okay, once you get this bezel up and out of the way here, it's a T25 bolt that actually goes through the shifter. So you just want to get that loosened up. This bolt actually goes straight through the entire shifter linkage, and that should remove the shift knob itself. There it is there. Just going to put that in the cup holder. so we don't lose that. And now I'm just going to pull straight up on the gear shift knob, and this whole piece is out of the way. Okay, for some reason there's all this kind of white powdery residue all over this boot, and it's getting all over everything, which is really nice. But I just kind of pulled up this rubber piece here, and you're able to see the 2 screws in the front here, so we're going to remove those now. All right, the next 2 bolts that you need to get out are actually behind the shifter itself. You just kind of lift up the rubber in the back, and you can see in there, hopefully, there are 2 more 10 mils, just kind of closer together rather than the front. They're a little easier to get at than the front ones, and you undo those, and that should pretty much do it for everything you need up top here. Okay, as you can see, we have our diff cooling lines down here. We have the drive shaft removed, our steady bearing is removed, so now we should have enough room to get this shifter assembly out once we get the front pins removed. So we got the cross member dropped here, should have enough area to get in there. We're just trying to figure out how to get the pins out of the front here right now, and we should have this thing down on the bench. This is towards the front of the vehicle. We have these pins on either side. Now they have a little spring-loaded barb that just kind of goes through these bushings, and then there's a piece of the transmission on either side of this. So what you got to do is get this little barb pushed in so you're able to remove it, but when it gets to this side, it gets caught. So you have to stick a screwdriver in between the bushing and the boss on the transmission to push this guy in to finally get this guy to remove. So what we found helped out a little bit is just kind of put a ratchet strap on this lower cross member just to pull the transmission over that way slightly, enough so you can get your hand in there and be able to get a tool in to release that little barb. Okay, in order to get the shifter out of the car, and I imagine to get the new one in, there's 2 bolts on the bottom here. So these 2 here. Take those out. There's a little retainer that's on the shifter assembly, and this whole piece comes out, and it allows you to be able to get everything out of the car. Now, probably the only difference between the short shifter is this linkage here rather than what the factory one is. So I mean, this piece here is probably the exact same as what's in the car. Okay, with the kit they do give you an extra clip, and that actually is for a pin that goes through for your linkage, and on either side of that pin there's one of these clips. So if you end up losing one or you screw one up or whatever, you do have a spare, as well as this is the 10 mil that goes in from the top that screws into the upper plate here, and they give you one extra here as well in case you lose one, whatever, but we're going to reuse the 4 that came out of it originally, as well as the pins that go through in the front here. They do give you one extra in case you end up messing one up, or if one isn't as desirable condition as you'd like to reinstall, you do have one extra here. But we're just going to put this one with our assembly, just goes in there like so we don't lose it. And this is just going to go into the pile of parts that we've removed from this car and replaced with better ones. So what would be your opinion on doing this job at home on your driveway?
I wouldn't want to do this job in my driveway at home. This job sucks.
Yeah, it's a little tight. A hoist is definitely something you want to use when doing this job. Okay, everything on the transmission is put back together. We're going to get our 4 10 mils put back in from up top, and then we can reassemble our top trim piece and our gear knob. And then we have a treat for everybody because we left the exhaust off, and we're going to do an open header startup. Okay, when we put this back in, we're just going to line our tabs in the front, and this snaps right into place. So we're just going to push our shift boot back down where it's supposed to be. You definitely notice there is a shorter shift involved now. It's not a dramatic difference, but definitely do notice you have less movement between the gears. So now, as promised, an open header startup. That is pretty loud. So I hope everybody enjoyed the install video of the GM short shifter for the 2017 Camaro SS. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, drop your comments in the comments section, and keep that hammer down.